There are certain ideas that even if we do not agree with them and do not identify with them, that due to how we were raised and the world around us, we may subconsciously resort to, right? And one of these ideas, which is the one I really want to talk about, is the idea of rugged individualism, right? The idea that you must rely on yourself and yourself alone. You must look out for yourself and yourself alone. That the well-being of you is your number one priority all of the time, and that it trumps and triumphs over the well-being of those around you, right? It's a very American idea, and I mean, like, I'm an American. I was born, raised in America. I live there, and it is an idea that is very present in American culture, right? Through the TV that we watch growing up, through the books and movies and conversations we have with people, and the narratives that we are taught. Rugged individualism, even if you can acknowledge the harm that comes from that way of thinking, it still sort of seeps in certain aspects of our life. And I am of the belief that rugged individualism is a very high contributor, very large contributor to why so many people, regardless of what generation they are in, regardless of age, gender, sexuality, why so many people feel so lonely, and how by realizing the harm that a rugged individualist mindset can have on the social lives of us, by realizing that harm, we can overcome it. So let's talk about it. My name is Robin. I go by The Eclectus on YouTube, TikTok. I have a Twitch. It's The Eclectus Familiar. The easiest way to find this stuff's on the link tree in my bio. But let's talk about rugged individualism and loneliness. Now, self-reliance isn't a bad thing. Hell, self-reliance, in my opinion, is a good thing. Being able to stand up for yourself when there are times where no one can really help, and being able to go throughout your life and be able to handle the problems in your life, I think is not a bad thing. However, I will say that it is unrealistic that every problem will be one that you are equipped to solve on your own. There is no shame in asking for help. There's a good balance, between never asking for help and always asking for help, you know, and it's not one or the other. It's not you always have to rely on yourself. It's not always you can't. It's not always that you have to ask for help. Not whatever. You get the point. Now, rugged individualism. This also, I feel like, breeds this idea of misattributed uniqueness. Now, I'm not saying that people aren't unique, because of course everyone's unique, but everyone's unique in the way that they have their own desires, their own hobbies, their own history, their own lived experience, right? Everyone has a unique combination of factors that make them them. But it gets to a point where, if you take it a step further, the idea is the way that I think and feel and the things that I want are unique to me, and no one has those. Which, understanding your uniqueness in a healthy way allows you to understand, here's what makes me me. Taking it a step beyond that, suddenly it becomes, no one can relate to me because I'm unique, which is simply not true. I used to be a very lonely person until I realized, hey, I wish people would talk to me. I wish people would want to be my friend. While I am a unique person, it is not unique to want those things. I'm willing to bet there are people out there who want that. That there are people out there who, if I went up to them and talked to them, they want the same thing. They want people to talk to them. I'm not odd in that. You are unique, but you're not odd, is how I'd put it. You are your own person, and that is what's beautiful about you. But that you being your own person is not odd, because everyone's their own person, and everyone has things they want, and many people want the same things that you do. And this idea that you are so individual, that you are such an individual that you are unable to relate to others, is incredibly harmful. And I think things like COVID and lockdown in 2020 like only serve to exemplify these ideas. When you're isolated, you don't have that community to ground you, because community does help ground you. And when you interact with people, especially people that you aren't like best friends with, you get this understanding that people out there are just like you. They're still unique from you, and you're still unique from them, but in many ways, in ways that are comforting, ways that don't take away from you being an individual. They're just like you. And when we were in lockdown, isolated from everybody, and we are still suffering the consequences of that. When you're in isolation and you don't have those people around you that you're looking at and that you're talking to and that you're physically sharing space with, it's easy to think, man, there's no one like me. This is lonely. No one can relate to me. No one wants to relate to me. No one wants to talk to me. Because those things aren't true. Those things will never be true. People will like you. People will want you to talk to them, I mean, you need to be a kind person. They won't want to talk to you if you're an asshole, but if you're an asshole now, you can learn how to not be an asshole, right? For some people, I guess it's a learned experience. And it's this kind of thing that even now, and I think one thing is during COVID, we found out that we are able to sacrifice community for convenience. Why would I run to the store? I can get this on Amazon. Why would I go to the bar? I can just drink at home. Why would I go to a party? I have video games. I like playing video games. And while all these things are convenient, it's a lot easier for me to slide out of bed, come to this computer, and boot up Assassin's Creed. It's a lot easier to do that than to get up, get out of bed, shower, make myself presentable, get in my car, and drive to a party or drive to a bar. I get that. No, but if you are simply relying on what's convenient, you're not enjoying the best of your life. You don't need to be going out all the time. I'm not saying that. Again, everything in moderation. But if you're robbing yourself of that experience just because of convenience, you're going to find yourself lonely. Sure, the individual of you might want convenience. We all want things to be convenient. No one likes doing stuff that's hard. No one seeks things out that are inconvenient for them. However, understanding that inconvenience is a part of life, and sometimes you need to go through a bit of inconvenience to get to something that you really want, to get something meaningful. Not everything needs to be, and everything should be, accessible all the time to you and easy for you to achieve. Inconvenience makes us have to realize why things are inconvenient and overpower that. Making friends is inconvenient. I mean, it really is. Going out to find someone, invest time into someone who's not you, and it might not even work out. You might hang out with someone multiple weeks in a row, and it might taper out, and you got nothing out of it aside from those weeks, But that's kind of a risk you got to take. It's better than the alternative than not even trying, right? At least in my opinion, that's the case. But it might be uncomfortable to talk to people. It might be uncomfortable to go out. It might be inconvenient. But once you realize, and harkening back to the beginning, once you realize that people are just like you and people want connection and people want friends, why would you be anxious about that? Why would you be anxious when you are usually, there's some people that are different and some people maybe are kind of dicks. But 9 times out of 10 from what I've found, people want to have a good conversation with a stranger. It'll make their day usually. Be kind. Be your best self. But the inconvenience of realizing that you aren't the only version of you. No, that came out wrong. Only version. That you are the only person like you. You aren't the only person like you. Once you realize that, you're going to be able to overcome the loneliness that you deal with. And it is not an easy realization to come to, because we're told to be proud of being unique. And again, we should be proud of being unique. but we shouldn't be proud of isolating ourselves and thinking that we are odd. You know, you are unique, but you are not odd. And this idea of rugged individualism just takes a good idea that we are unique and to respect our uniqueness and takes it to a point where it isolates us, where it makes us feel different, it makes us feel other. So do yourself a solid. If you're a lonely individual, even if you're not, go out and talk to someone. Maybe it's someone you kind of know, maybe it's a stranger, maybe it's someone you want to get to know better. Go talk to them. Because maybe they just need someone to talk to. You know, maybe they need someone to talk to just as much as you do. But what do you think? What are your ideas on individualism and rugged individualism and how they affect our day-to-day lives? Do you agree with me? Do you not? I mean, I don't have any sources. I'm not trying to make a scientific argument. I'm just making observations based on my own life. But with that being said, take care. I hope you have a good one.